Okay, excuse me. Good morning, guys. Hope we're well this morning. Now, I'm just trying to figure out, just saw a headline pop up. G'day, Jason, Bobby. And you guys, have you seen anything about stimulus? I did see a headline pop up, so just bear with me 1 second. I don't know if it's a major headline or what's going on there. Okay, it's got Nancy Pelosi said Democrats reached an agreement with the White House on a spending bill. The House is expected to vote tonight on the measure, so it'd be interesting to see whether that provides a bit of support into the markets today. Or at least cap any downside. Because that's basically looking at what do you call it? Stimulus. So really we would expect that to be a bit supportive. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I'm just getting everything organised. A bit late. All right, so let's look at the intraday action to start with. The plan of attack. Now this is the Dow. Dow sort of we had that big pressure lower. Whoops, get that out of the way. A big push lower. And we've got a big bid zone. Probably a touch lower than that. Let's just get rid of that. We can see that through here. It's touched on it before. Rejected, then straight back down through it, and we're coming back up potentially up into that zone. As long as this little inside level can hold at 27,300, which I sort of do expect that today. I expect this market to be ramped a bit into the open, the European Open, purely for the reason of that stimulus headline. Now, whether or not I don't know what it means just yet. I don't know if any like $1 trillion or what the sort of agreement is. The headline just popped up a few minutes ago. So all in all, you wouldn't expect too many bearish action because everyone's waiting for stimulus to come through. Not too much bearish action. You can see the Hang Seng, the Nikkei's just popped up. They're playing catch up after 2 days probably. But yeah, they're popping up and they look towards that 23,229 area. It's extended at the moment. That move up's extended. We'll see where the actual index is itself. It's probably delayed, or maybe it's not delayed. Layup's delayed. Oh, not today. Or is it? What time's that open? Right, so that's a Nikkei, which is still on a grind higher. Let's get rid of that, and that. All right, so I would expect that's going to be a bit of a bid zone from previously. It's touching the zone, and then we plowed through it with the sell-off, bounced straight back again. We're basically looking to retest that from the other side, so we'll just see if that can hold. Hang Seng, that has been under a bit of pressure last couple of sessions after the sell-off, but it's still, look, it's finding some bids in there. It's a bit of a grind into that level. So if there's a bit of support coming into the markets today, expect that to sort of potentially just maybe look to clean out some shorts. Longer term, we were discussing this in the live trading channel yesterday. Longer term, it's under fire, and we'll look at that. Might as well look at that now. This is the daily. We've got support coming through here, which is obviously broken. You've got lower highs coming into play, so there's a bit of a bid zone through here, or it's going to be looking down to this potential low in the coming days, which is 20.05, about 23, about 1,000 points away. So there is potential for that to get smacked, but now that it's down on that support, there may be a bit of chop. You can expect that's going to be a bit choppy. And if you look at the intraday, the 30-minute, good. We had that good move down, and it's edging down yesterday into the close, but it might just grind down and pop. We'll just have to keep an eye on whether it does pop up, and especially you keep an eye on these inside levels of 23,760 thereabouts. just in about here to see if we, we open up, we find a bit of strength on the open because of that headline news. But either way, I mean, that's 23,773, and that's a level from last night. And then we've got this inside level, which you probably expect going to be broken on the open at around 23,690. Just this, you can see these inside highs probably broken, then this would be the next level to be attacked. Now, if that breaks, yeah, we might see a bit of a squeeze on the shorts that have been building up the last few days. Doesn't mean the trend down is out of the woods. It just means that probably shorter term, we're finding a bit of buying off that support zone. And especially if there's going to be some support into the equities tonight. All that's got to do with what this news headline means. Now, the SPY is going to open up in a few minutes. That's a 5-minute trend up. That got, if you go and look at, I'll show you the prep from this morning. That well and truly ramped. And that's the beauty of the overnight markets. They can bully them left, right, and center. I suppose it's going to take me a while to get this up, isn't it? Here we go. So if you can see that clearly. Right, so you can see this is the action from the day. There's not much. The market sort of popped up. It was up in the open, cleaned out the opening highs, or cleaned out the highs, had a bit of a pullback, buyers supporting pullbacks, but really didn't do too much until we opened and then jammed up. Now, there wasn't too much enthusiasm into Europe and really not enough enthusiasm into the US to warrant this kind of move on the SPY. So I always get suspect when it gets ramped up overnight that it can get sold into during the day. It's like they're trying to lift the share prices, gap up on the open and sell into it. But we'll see. There's going to be some strength. So there's really nothing happened yesterday, considering the market was down. So it might just be a pure bullish market. The market was down in the US, was down quite heavily. We were down 30 points, and that's quite a big effort. And it wasn't factored in the previous day because it was only down a few points the previous day as well. So it's finding a bit of support. And that ramp last night might trigger some bulls into action today, just on the open. But we'll see. So I'm expecting that this level to be flushed out at 58, 52. And then just to see what happens if it does flush and just go, then we've got no trade on if it just rallies and goes straight on the open on the SPY. But if we sort of get this flush and then a bit of a pullback to buy into, see what happens on the bid on a pullback. If you get this flush and a sudden move down, we may get a bit of a move off that high because the market's going to be extended potentially. I guess it depends too whether this market's going to open up stronger. Let's just have a look at some key markets. We just looked at the Hang Seng, look at the S&P. It's pretty much a ramp up from tech. You had Amazon was up 5% or so last night. They got outperformed. They got re-rated. I don't know who it was, potentially some big analyst re-rated them to outperform, and they're up 5%. You can see that was Amazon. Where are we? That was Amazon, 5.6% on the open, bang, straight up. So it was all one-way action on that, which probably triggered a bit of reciprocal buying, I guess, into a bit of I can't remember the word now. A bit of buying into Google, Apple, Tesla, Netflix, a lot of the other big tech shares. And you can see Google was supported, Apple supported, Tesla was down. Sort of don't worry about me talking about buying into Tesla. It actually, Post is actually down a lot lower too. So that's down a bit more aftermarket. And Netflix was up. So there was definitely support into the Hang Seng. Sorry, what am I talking about? Into the NASDAQ. And that led on a bit of a flow-on effect. You can see that was up 1.8% flow-on effect into the S&P. Now, just trading, excuse me, should have a cup of water next to me. You can see that market's down. It's just whether or not we've got more to go. If that's the high and your market's sort of up here and you extend that out, say about in here, there's still potentially more to go on the downside, or whether we're just getting supported. You can see this bid zone through here. It's just touched into that bid zone on the S&P. Now, whether it's bouncing off there and there's another leg up, or whether we're going to sort of test this from the other side, test into this little zone that it recently broke. You can trade a 1, 2, stop there, fell through, test it from underneath, see if we start to fail again. But I think it's got to do with tech tonight. Now, the tech view, I'll put it a bit messy. Sorry about that. It has a bit of a ramp up, and it's just above the longer term MAs, which are down. It's still, the trend is still down. You've got this move down, pressured move down. I sort of expect further weakness, but it's just whether, the markets have been supported on more stimulus, okay, hopes, and it didn't get sold off too heavily because of further stimulus hopes. Now, if they're coming about, it's whether or not, we've got to wait and see to what happens tonight to see whether that stimulus is as expected, $1 trillion, or whether it's on Trump's side, where it's only a few $1 billion, or whether they've agreed somewhere in the middle. Is it enough? The Fed Reserve is pushing for fiscal stimulus, meaning stimulus from the government. They can't keep supporting the market. They're not looking at any more quantitative easing, apparently, I don't think. They said that they basically need more stimulus. Otherwise, this is over. Basically, the bounce is over. So I think there's a US dollar was rallying on the back of that. They've got a bit higher on the back of potential interest rate rises. Expectations for earlier than, I think there's news out, someone was talking out last night, Evans, whatever his name is, some Chicago Fed Reserve chairman, saying inflation, we might have to raise rates before it hits the 2% target, earlier than expected, and that sent the US dollar higher. Now, the US dollar hasn't really moved at this stage. I don't think it's open just yet, but it'd be interesting to see what happens at, is it actually open? I think it opens at 10. And that's open. So it's heading down a bit, which you would expect. If stimulus comes in and they start talking about stimulus, you expect a bit of a sell-off into the US dollar, which would mean a bit of bounce into gold. Gold looks like it's getting supported a touch. Gold is looking a touch weak, to be honest, apart from that stimulus. So I think it's this stimulus, if it comes out, depending on what it is and what they say, and expect a lot more news headlines coming through prior to the US Open, because they'll be trying to push this to buoy the market. So in other words, I wouldn't be expecting gold to see too much downside. The US dollar probably heads south, that sort of scenario, because more stimulus means the US dollar lower, just flooding the market with more dollars. And then anything sort of linked to that, like you said, gold currencies will move in reverse, and you would expect that the equity market to be supported until more news comes out on it. So I'll have to follow up on that during the day. So that's probably really not much more to talk about there. We're going to get into our, a bit more depth into when I get up and running at 11 o'clock. And I'm going to start. I'll chat about a new sort of entries we're going to be testing out today. Not really a strategy. I don't like to say strategy. It's all based around price action, but I'll be talking about that today, just showing them, had a bit of a test run on some really small quantities, but I think it's got to be live. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. So see how that goes. Talk about that more at 11 o'clock, so feel free to join in. If you're not involved in the Discord channel, send an email to support@tradesetup.com.au, and I'll shoot across a link. Otherwise, any questions, guys, feel free to chuck them in now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. Yeah, yesterday was really a waste of time. Not really a waste of time, but it was a bit just no real movement. It's lacking direction, and I'm wondering if that's lacking direction because we're waiting for stimulus. Now, if that's what's come out today, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, enjoy your day, guys, and just be wary that if diving in short too much, too heavy, that there could be some support coming in because of the stimulus. Good work, Ebonium. Hope you're well, mate. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, we'll speak again the same time tomorrow around 9:40 and see what happens, see what comes about tonight. All right, guys, enjoy your day, and I'll speak to you guys again later on.